afternoon, everybody. You're all welcome here. And I am here to give you a presentation on how I found my own unique and personal voice. Some time ago, I started out in a journey because, yes, I was one of those quivering wrecks, one of the 99% of people in the world who would prefer, in fact, to be in the coffin rather than give the eulogy at a funeral. But I decided I wanted rid of all my nerves. But you know what? I can now declare that I am very happy to have some nerves because they are a friend of mine. They, in fact, will prevent me from ever becoming a complacent speaker. So that's the first thing I had to do, was to recognize that, in fact, having some nerves was, in fact, essential to good public speaking. So on my journey, which I'm going to take you on now, through a process of education, tools and techniques that are available to us all. And yes, once I embraced these techniques, I have found that at least I feel much better. So the first one, the care of the voice. Just like athletes care for their bodies, we as speakers need to care for our voices. So how do we do that? Well, I'll tell you. We drink plenty of warm, room temperature water, just room temperature. No hot or cold or fizzy or iced drinks. And the following statistic is going to be absolutely mind-blowing when you hear it. Now just remember it, because 3% of dehydration will leave one up to 30% with loss of concentration. And that certainly would not be the friend of any speaker. The next important thing that I learned was the importance of good posture. So, how you stand. So you should stand with your feet firmly rooted on the ground, shoulder width apart, so that your body is well and evenly balanced. Knees slightly flexed, and an awareness that there's an alignment of the pelvis. After all, the pelvis carries the entire weight of the torso. So with good posture and an alignment of the spine also, but that posture is vital for good deliverance. You need no obstructions to the airways. You need to be upright, but yet in a relaxed way. So your weight is evenly distributed. That also aids projection and has multiple benefits. The next technique, in fact, was one which has multiple benefits, and that is diaphragmatic breathing. Now, diaphragmatic breathing is basically where we're going to get used to taking in deep breaths and filling this empty space, which is just below the rib cage here, and really is unused by most of the population. We tend to do a lot of clavicle breathing. And there is this enormous area in the lower lobes of the lung and the diaphragm. So we have 5 lobes altogether, 3 on one side and 2 on the other. And then a dome-shaped area just beneath the rib cage, which is known as the diaphragm. And we need to fill up these spaces with air. So as we take in a deep breath with diaphragmatic breathing, the air comes in through our lungs and goes in through the alveoli and into the capillaries, and it goes to every single part of our body, to the fingertips, to our toes and up to our head. But just remember that this is oxygenated blood. So our body is being bathed in oxygen. Now what is that going to do for us as speakers? It's going to give us clarity of thought. It's going to be very calming. And oddly enough, it's also going to energize us and give us vigor. So it's a really very, very good friend. So it's simply by taking in deep breaths, holding, and when you are giving a speech and you want to take a pause, it's a really good time to take in that deep breath and do a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing at important points. You can also use it to, at that time you're pausing, you can refix your eye on the audience and you can gather or collect your thoughts. Or if there's audience interaction and they're speaking, you can also do it then. The next important phase on my journey was getting rid of all the tension that I had from my torso and up through my body, particularly the shoulders, the neck and the face. So that is really being done by exercising. So you do what we call shoulder rolls for the shoulders. As we know, it is always said, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and we all know about that. So we do shoulder rolls now, and I'm going to show we're going to do them clockwise and anti-clockwise. And I will do them once, but they will be repeated by you several times each one. So just simply shoulder rolls clockwise and anti-clockwise. Neck scrunches, up and down, and repeat. And neck scrunches now here with tension. And you feel it all just leaving you. Now regarding the neck, we carry a lot of tension in our neck. So before it's any presentation, and generally for your general well-being, you can do these exercises. So this is what we call a neck stretch, just by putting the neck back, and we can feel the stretch here, and right down on your chin, chin to chest. And don't strain yourself, and up slowly. Putting your arms out, thumbs up, over slowly to the right hand thumb, and look back slowly to the center, to the left hand thumb, and back to the center. And another one, which is very relaxing actually, is basically to lower your head and do what we call a neck roll. So again, you do it clockwise and anti-clockwise. Now let's go to the face. Now it's important that we keep our face muscles also exercised, and we have numerous muscles in our face, and yes, we can in fact exercise them. So with our two fingers on both hands, we're just going to loosen the jaw. Just loosen the jawbone here. You can feel it here. Absolutely. And that's very simple to do. And another exercise, which is an exaggeration or chewing gum. And you can exaggerate that hugely by going, or pretend for all the world that you're at a football match. So that's the breathing. The next one is breathing. Exercises which are important, because without good breathing control, we're not going to be good speakers. Good breathing techniques are essential. And how are we going to do that? Well, yes, we have multiple exercises here. And it's about holding our breath so that we eventually learn that we can expand our lungs, and indeed we can say a word on a held breath for up to maybe 15 to 20 seconds, or on the count. So the first one is the shish sound. So with your index finger 4 inches from your mouth, And the idea is that you should feel the breath passing over or through that finger. So you take in a deep breath, and it's just like this. Now, obviously, the more that you practice this, the better you're going to get at it. And you can turn the shish sound into the F sound. The next one is to hold your breath, and let's hold it, and we're going to speak while on the hold. So we're going to take in a big deep breath. I went to the shop and I bought potato, tortilla, eggs, newspapers, bread, butter, milk, bananas, apples, oranges, pears, couches, cushions, books, televisions, chairs, tables, cushions, doors, paint, brushes. I bought absolutely everything in that shop, and I am done. So you understand, I am learning to speak on long breaths in order to expand and control my breathing. There's another one which people wouldn't even take for granted, and they think it was very easy. And that is speaking for a long time on a whisper. So I'm going to do it on a breath also. So, I went to the shop and I bought newspapers, eggs, milk, brown bread, white bread. I bought beans, and I only got a short distance. But in fact, I can do it for longer. Now we go on and we move to the importance of dental consonants and our vowel sounds and our endings, our INGs and our THs. But the awareness of, say, that on the dental consonants, the TH, the D, the T, the E, and how the soft palate and the hard palate. Where is the R coming from? R. Just be aware of the tongue folding back as you say R. And there's a lot of that sound coming from the back of our throats, otherwise known in many languages as guttural, like German languages, a guttural language. And there's a lot happening back in the soft palate. Also, to complete our words phonetically, thinking, not thinking, or tinking, because there's no TH, it's not being pronounced properly. So good pronunciation and articulation, finishing our words crisply, that's very important. Now finally, ladies and gentlemen, the education of how all this happens. To be educated in the anatomy and the physiology of the respiratory center and the organs of articulation, plus the brain, the left hemisphere of the brain, where the motor cortex has the speech center, both for the generation of speech and the recognition of speech. And those two people that in fact founded those areas, Dr. Paul Broca being the first one, who's a neurosurgeon, and indeed Karl Warnick, who's found the centre where speech is interpreted. And that's important. And that seamless neurological process that we have just with the thought, and we just speak and then it goes through our neurological system. We take in a deep breath, and how that on expiration our vocal cords are being used and our sounds are then produced in our mouth, and all of the organs that are responsible from that, from our vocal cords or voice box, and as it comes up into the mouth and the oral cavity, the importance of the tongue, the shape of the tongue, the dorsum, which is the flat part of your tongue, your lips, your teeth, your hard palate, your soft palate, and all of these organs that are completely responsible for our speech that we so take for granted. So that is really my complete journey. And I would have to say that without all of that knowledge, and much, much more, which is far too numerous to mention, that is how I found my own unique and personal voice. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.